All right. So speaking of quarterbacks, let me see. I want to give the accurate stats here on a tweet that was done yesterday that had a little bit of a screen time. Let me. Oh, here we go. What if I would have told you in the 30 for 30 voice that a quarterback that is committed to Nebraska and is a wholesome 15-year-old who is in Lincoln and is on social media, and he's become a magnet. He's got a great personality.
He does.
He would have had his first taste of a runza yesterday, put it on his Twitter account, and 40,000 people have viewed it. 1,000 plus people have liked it. That is what Trey Taylor did yesterday. So it got me to think. He's kind of doing the media tour, which is he's very, very savvy. So I'm fascinated to watch him grow and what happens when he gets here.
Sure.
But he said, I think he said this to Sip, that it is his job to come and take over for Dylan Raiola. Now, I would like in a world which
I have my perfect world.
In a world, I would love for him to reclassify and be here next year because I think he would benefit greatly from Dylan in that quarterback room. As long as Nebraska's not 7-5 this year, Dylan will be back. He would benefit greatly from being around him for a year instead of coming into a quarterback room where there might not be as much veteran experience or that kind of a leader. But are we going to have to pick our quarterback here? Because, again, he's not going to be here till 2027. If things work out, the current quarterback will not be here. He'll be on to the NFL draft and on to the pros. But his brother is slated to take over for Dylan. And Trey Taylor said, it's my job to come in here and take over for Dylan. I love competition, but one is aggressively peer recruiting. The other one is a little bit quieter, and there are more doubts. This could be, if everybody stays,
sure,
this could be kind of interesting in 2027. I know this is a good summer topic on June 4th because we're talking about a quarterback room that is 2 years away, but Trey Taylor is in our lives right now. It'll be fascinating. What are we gonna have to have a, maybe hate watch isn't the right word, but we're gonna have to choose our warrior.
What about TJ Lateef?
Well, he's in the mix. I think we have Survivor Island with two quarterbacks this year.
When you have
one of them, both won't stay.
What? One of who? Lateef and Raiola, or
no,
or Lateef and Davila?
Yes.
Okay. I think in a perfect world, you have Dylan Raiola plays this year, Dylan Raiola plays next year.
Mm-hmm.
One of Dayton Raiola and TJ Lateef come on and establish themselves as a good quarterback. I'm not expecting them to be at the level of Dylan, or at least the level that we think Dylan can be at.
Mm-hmm.
But they establish themselves as a good quarterback. Then Trey comes that year. Wow.
Now this is a good problem. This is a good problem to have. But are we going to have?
How long do you think
we're going to have one guy that's pure recruiting his tail off against?
We're going to have one guy.
Dayton is so much different from his brother in terms of like being out there.
Sure.
I don't really ever, and I don't think Dayton does a lot of interviews.
I mean, it is.
He doesn't. You don't hear about peer recruiting. No. The guy that won't be here until 27 is like all in on the peer recruiting. Also, did you guys know that ice cream cones at Runza only cost $1? But it seems like every time you go to Runza, they're out of ice cream. They got a McDonald's problem there. They should put it on the marquee. Just saying. That's a side note. Watching the video of Trey Taylor eating
I didn't know
Runza.
that Runza had ice cream. I don't think I would ever go to Runza.
They have really good shakes. I've heard.
Do they actually?
Yeah.
They just do everything.
I just go there
they're
for
a consistent playoff performer.
Look at you angling for something.
What? Him or me?
Oh no, you need a bucket late.
Does everything that you like either roll out of bed and get 20 and 10 or get a bucket late?
No, unless they suck, then they don't get any bucket at all. They're not in the game.
Then they're Tony Snell.
Okay, so
So 2025 will be Dylan Raiola starting for quarterback.
I would hope so.
Okay.
Yes. Let's just mark that down.
I'm writing this down right now
Then he
because I
gets
do
the
need to
first
plan this. I
overreaction
do need to plan this. Okay. So then
If
2026
it's
next
not,
year.
somebody better let us know. It's gonna before I go to the window.
So it'll be Dylan in 2025, Dylan in 2026
You heard it
is
here
the
first.
hope.
As long as Nebraska doesn't go 7-5.
Then
If Nebraska goes 7-5 this year,
someone is going to come and pay him a lot of money to be on a contender. Boop. So
Boop.
TJ Lateef 2027 or Marcos Davila. Can we do an and or there?
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So at that point, Lateef and Davila would be eligible to go to the draft after
Just
that season.
still here.
Hey, this is a great problem to have.
So then
This
what?
is a fantastic problem to have, but we're going to get ahead of it here.
So then 2028 is
Yeah?
when you say Trey Taylor?
No, he'll be here in 2027.
Yeah, I know. But then 2028 would be the year.
He ain't showing up to sit.
So you would go
This
Raiola,
could be great.
and then TJ Lateef or Marcos Davila or Dayton Raiola. One of those guys is
In
your quarter-
2027?
In 2027.
Okay, let's do this differently.
Okay.
Outside of Dylan Raiola,
Yeah.
what quarterback takes the most snaps, whether they be end of the game, human victory cigar snaps, which you can't impose on Graham's dad. That's what he does. Between now and the end of the 27 season, outside of Dylan Raiola, who takes the most snaps at quarterback at Nebraska? And remember, there would be just 1 year where there would be more snaps to be passed around.
I think that Marcos Davila is a good enough athlete where he could probably have packages for him, maybe this season. But if I were betting over the entirety of careers, I would say Lateef.
So this is end of 27.
End of 27.
Who will take the most snaps outside of Dylan Raiola?
I will
end
say
of 27.
I will say TJ Lateef.
Okay.
TJ Lateef. End of 2027. I would say that he more than likely I after what I saw at the little snaps we had at the spring game, okay, and the fact that he looked like he could maneuver a pocket, his athleticism, he's got a pretty good arm. He can whip that thing a bit. You know, he's a freshman. He's learning a lot of things right now, but he's a 4-star from a really good state that they actively recruited, that they really wanted to have him. Obviously, there's a long way to go in terms of like knowing what in terms of things to know about him. But I would say Lateef at the end of 2027. But what do you do after 2027?
Oh, no, I won't stop there. I'm not,
Okay.
I may not even be alive.
I would say Lateef.
Okay, thank you. Couple of emails here, but first, we brought this up on Monday about somebody that is discovering things that we take for granted around here, whether it be Nebraska football, Runza, Gabby Union being attached to Nebraska. I'll give him credit, and he did this after the whole hat thing when he committed to Nebraska. This, I hope this is something that he continues with. He responds to people on social media. So I'm going through the comments here of his video, and someone says, gonna have to hit this up when we there. I'll go back with you. Somebody, 402 says, that boy lying. Runza is cooked. LMAO. Trey Taylor says, I liked it. Then JB chimes in. You definitely spit that out. Trey says, nope, loved it. Wasn't sure about it at first, but was really good. That bite was probably 70% bread. You'll figure out the ratio as you go. And then somebody says, that is an NIL deal waiting to happen. That was, I believe that Runza actually was the first NIL deal for football players because they attach themselves to about 10 different football players.
Okay.
And they encourage people to download the app, the Runza app, to get like 10, 15% off. I think that was the first NIL deal signed.
Was it
in Nebraska? Was Runza?
Wasn't there something similar with a gas station too in Lincoln? Was it the Quick Trips or
You Stop?
You Stop?
I don't know. A Kansas State guy jumping in with Nebraska, even though Dad was a legend playing basketball, the Whiteheads. I don't know. I don't know if it's grocery. I
think
remember
it was
the Runza.
no, it was You Stop.
I remember the Runzas were the first thing.
Runza, Amigos, You Stop, and that HVAC company were all the original, that and everybody making their own podcast or beef jerky companies. That's what that's the NIL I remember. That's the NIL I love. When athletes were entrepreneurial, when they were business owners, when they weren't just given money to play like every other sport athlete in the country.
How come Dayton is not publicly peer recruiting?
I don't know. I have no clue. I think Dayton, though, and look, we just went through.
Maybe he is.
We just went through the future.
Quietly.
We went through the future of quarterbacks in Nebraska, and Dylan Raiola was not on that list. I think Dylan Raiola probably hears some noise about the fact that there are guys and recruits and prospects that are over him, and that he probably needs to focus on beating those guys and getting better than those guys.